The first time I heard about the lawsuit, I thought someone was pulling a prank on me. I came home from work, grabbed the stack of mail from my box, and tucked it under my arm like any other day. But when I sat at the kitchen table and started sifting through the envelopes, one stood out. It was thick, stamped legal notice, and inside I found the most ridiculous thing I'd ever read. I was being sued by the HOA, not for an uncut lawn, not for peeling paint, not even for noise complaints. No, it was for owning a dog. The problem? I didn't have a dog. I sat there staring at the paperwork, trying to piece together how this could even make sense. The document claimed I had violated HOA rules by keeping an unapproved large breed dog on my property. It even described the dog in detail. Black fur, medium build, loud barking. My first reaction was to laugh so hard I nearly spilled my coffee. But as absurd as it was, the lawsuit was real. Court date and all, and I knew exactly where it came from. Karen, the self-appointed enforcer of everything in the neighborhood. She had been on my back since the day I moved in. She didn't like that I painted my house a slightly different shade of beige. She didn't like that I parked my truck in the driveway instead of the garage. She didn't like me, period. Now apparently she had invented a dog to try to get rid of me. I went to the HOA office the next morning, papers in hand, and asked for an explanation. The manager looked just as confused as I was. All complaints came from Mrs. Reynolds, he admitted, Karen's full name. She swore she saw a large black dog running around your yard at night. I shook my head in disbelief. That's impossible. I don't own a dog, but the lawsuit was already filed. I had no choice but to show up in court. On the day of the hearing, I walked into the small claims courtroom, suit pressed, papers neatly organized. Karen was already there, lips pursed, eyes glinting with smug confidence. She had a stack of printed photos, grainy night shots of a dark shape near my fence. She shoved them at the judge, declaring, "See? That's his dog. It barks all night and terrifies the neighbors." The judge adjusted his glasses, glanced at the photos, then looked at me. "Do you own a dog?" he asked. "No, Your Honor," I replied firmly. "I have never owned a dog. I live alone." "Those photos could be of anything. A stray, a shadow, even a trash bag," Karen scoffed. "He's lying. Everyone knows he has a dog. I've heard it myself." That's when I brought out my own evidence. "Your Honor, may I present security footage from my cameras? They cover the front and back of my property 24 hours a day. I've reviewed every clip from the dates she mentioned. Not once does a dog appear." The judge leaned forward as I placed the USB drive on the clerk's desk. Within minutes, the truth was obvious. The only animals caught on my cameras were a few raccoons and one wandering cat. No dog. Not even close. The judge turned to Karen. "Ma'am, this is a serious accusation. Do you have any proof beyond hearsay and blurry photographs?" Karen's face flushed red. I know what I saw." The judge sighed, rubbing his temples. "Case dismissed. And Mrs. Reynolds, consider this a warning. Filing false claims wastes the court's time and your neighbor's resources. Do it again, and you may be held liable for harassment." I couldn't help it. I laughed, right there in the courtroom. Not out of disrespect, but out of sheer relief and disbelief that it had even gone this far. Karen glared at me like I'd spat in her face. The story should have ended there, but it didn't. That evening, just as I was settling down, I heard a knock at my door. When I opened it, 2 police officers stood on the porch. Behind them, of course, was Karen. She had actually called the cops, claiming I was harboring a dangerous animal and that the judge had been fooled. I blinked, half amused, half exasperated. "Officers, you're welcome to look around. As you'll see, there's no dog here." They stepped inside, checked every room, the yard, even the garage. When they returned, one officer raised an eyebrow at Karen. "Ma'am, there's no dog. Not even a chew toy. You need to stop making these calls." Karen's face twisted with rage. She opened her mouth to argue, but the officer cut her off. "If you keep filing false reports, you'll be the one facing charges." The look on her face was priceless, somewhere between shock and fury. She stormed off,